Coach Donovan here. I want to talk to you about choosing the best electrolytes for summer. So this is part of my Go shopping series. These are electrolytes I give to my own kids. So I'm going to show you the worst choices and then all the way to the best choices. So stay tuned. Here we go. I want to talk to you about choosing the best electrolyte drinks for summer. So during the summertime, you use a lot of fluids when you're exercising in the heat or you're playing sports like football, soccer, any of those sports across. You're going to be out in the heat between 90 degrees and 105 degrees sometimes. So you'll lose a lot of fluids. So you need to replenish those with the right amount of water. So that's first. Number two is electrolytes. Why? Because electrolytes are what keeps your body in balance. So these are electrolytes that I personally take and I give to my kids. Now I'm going to show you the worst to the best. Okay, so I give the best to my family or myself. I avoid the worst at all costs. So really important here. So why electrolytes matter? Because first of all, sodium, potassium, magnesium, calcium, and even zinc are critical because they help keep your system in balance. Why is that important? Because if they're low, you can have hyponatremia, which that's the extreme, of course, and you can have life-threatening issues. So because your body just shuts down, you just don't think correctly. You start having problems with just balance. So you'll see people at the end of a marathon start to fall down and stuff. Most likely it's not just fatigue, but it can be also electrolyte drops. Hypertremia, people who think, oh, the more the merrier, they just take a bunch of electrolytes. That's a big problem because hypertremia is very hard to reverse and it's life threatening. So you don't want to be downing 10, 15, sticks of electrolytes during the day. You need to have the right balance. So really critical. I personally have never taken really over 1 or 2 per day. But of course, I haven't been on any event that's longer than about 4 to 5 hours on a marathon. So that's really critical. Just to put that into perspective. The hidden ingredients you want to watch out for are hidden colorings, reds, yellows, greens, blues. There's no health benefit to these things for this potential harm. Preservatives, like sodium benzoate, they're not the worst thing in the world, but I still want to avoid those. Added sugars, again, the question is, do you need sugar, not need sugar? So 20 grams or less is a good rule of thumb. I usually shoot for about 12. So that's really critical there. What makes electrolytes drinks the best? Of course, optimal mineral balance. Remember we talked about minerals, sodium, potassium, etc. Low or minimal sugar, and of course, clean ingredients. No artificial colorings, no flavorings or preservatives. Form factor really doesn't matter, but most likely the ones that are in the mixes or the powders are going to be cleaner than the ones that are ready to drink, like the ones in the bottles. Okay, really important there. My recommended drinks, of course, this is a spoiler alert. So Drip Drop, of course, sugar-free is my #1 favorite. So I love Drip Drop mainly because I was training in the heat a lot during the marathons, and it was the only one that really took away the headaches and helped my body the most. The rest were just kind of just not strong enough. And I didn't want to down a bunch of sugar in the other drinks. So Liquid IV, again, I use the sugar-free or the one with sugar. And of course, Element are my favorites. So that's your spoiler alert. I still recommend you watch the rest of the presentation because I'm going to show you some really cool things here. Electrolyte drink options. You can also make your own with fresh citrus. You can squeeze lemon, lime. You can add your own minerals. You can do like potassium, sodium. You can, if you make sure you have the right recipe, I think I can find one for you. But natural sweeteners like honey and stevia, and of course, just natural. Having it all natural, no preservatives is a big benefit at home. A typical easy one is just squeeze lemon, add just a pinch of salt. That's pretty much your sweetener, and then add your honey. There's your homemade electrolyte. Key takeaways, of course, no added colorings. So look for some that have no colorings, no preservatives. If I can get no preservatives, that's great. Less than 12 grams of sugar, and of course, 100% natural options. So with that, we're going to talk about the next thing, which is actually the shopping choice. Okay, so let's talk about my least favorite. Okay, it's not a personal hit on this particular brand. I only care about ingredients. So I look at the actual bottle, I turn it around. Obviously, when I look at this, can already tell there's colorings in it, right? So that's pretty obvious. Not always the case, but I'd say 90% or more, you can pretty much assume there's coloring. So #1 is there's a tons of sugar. So 36 grams of sugar, 34 of added sugar. So that's really important there. So water, sugar, dextrose, again, major issues there. But red 40, caramel colorings, it's not needed. It just makes it look pretty. Remember, with additives and preservatives, they're potentially harmful. So why even take any sort of risk with them? There's no net benefit in terms of your health. So that's a no, right? Look at that. Look at the ingredients. No. This one, look at it. It's colored. Obviously, I'm going to check for colorings. It's got 18 grams of sugar. It's still over my 12. Here I look at it. Where are the colorings do I find? Blue number 1. There's one right there. See, blue number 1. Red number 40. So all these are really important. I have dextrose, which is a corn sweetener. So really important. Most corn crops are actually genetically modified. Yellow number 5, again, I'll find this in these types of drinks, also with the pickle juices. So be careful with that. So if you're a pickle juice lover for this, you're also getting a bunch of coloring. So that is a no, right? Easy. This one looks better, looks clearer. Is it okay? So let's check the ingredients. Looks pretty good, but I don't know. I don't see anything wrong with it. So that's the only thing that could be potentially wrong with this one is water and sugar. So we're going to have to check the sugar levels. Dextrose, remember the corn sweetener? We're not a fan of that. But sugar's at 34. Too high. So we're going to skip on that one. This one, packets. Remember we said packets could be better. So packets, we're going to look down here at the ingredients. So sugar's at 12, so that passes there. With ingredients, dextrose, not a fan of that. So that's not the best. Blue number 1, I'm not sure why they'd even add blue number 1 to this, but it makes it look prettier, I guess. So that's a no, right? So it passed the sugar test, did not pass the coloring test, and there's also other things in there. So ace sulfate and potassium can also be an issue. And then, of course, there's a bioengineered food ingredient. So again, okay, better than the other choices, but not the best. So this one here, it's another one, rapid rehydrating. So this one I looked at and I was like, wow, it looks pretty good. Sugar, okay, it's okay at 12. So the problem here, though, is now let's look at the ingredients. So no, we're okay. I don't see any issue. There's even magnesium in there, which is good. The chlorides, potassium, calcium. So it's a pass. So I would say thumbs up because it's a ready to drink, pretty good to go, and great job to this company for making a cleaner version. So Liquid IV, same thing. It's one of my favorites. It was one of my go-tos during the marathon training, and so I like it a lot because number one, it did give me a little bit of sugar boost, but not too much. So when I was training, a little glucose was good. The only critique I have is the dextrose in there, but out of all this, I tell people it's about picking the poison. So this one, of course, is one of the better ones. And I'd say is my top 2 or top 3. This one actually became number 2. So even though I said top 2 just now, then the reason why I said top 3 is because I scanned this one this morning, and it's pretty cool because if you look at it, it actually has no sugar, which is great, and I can just look at all these ingredients. It's mainly just electrolytes and some stevia. So I even have zinc citrate, which is good. So that's a win. Really nice, nice level of sticks, not expensive, so really important there. It's really important on all that stuff. So that is a good brand. Ultima, I would actually do myself. So Unwell is also really good, ready to drink. When I looked at this one, I thought, well, out of the ones that were basically in a bottle, they did a pretty good job on this one. The one thing you want to look out for, again, this has a little hint of caffeine. So if I'm looking at caffeine, I definitely want to stay less than 50 to 60 milligrams, and I don't be hitting anything that has a lot of caffeine, because if I'm hitting a lot of caffeine, it's going to overwork, my system. It's going to hit my adrenals. So not the best thing if I'm an athlete. If you're needing tons of caffeine when you're an athlete, you've got a problem with sleep, obviously, or recovery. So that's a red flag. I usually try to keep my drinks at less than 60 or 70. So here, I can look at this. It was only 4 grams of sugar. It's only basically 1 teaspoon, and it passes the test on the ingredients. So there's nothing in there that's off. It's got green coffee bean extract. Doesn't really list where the caffeine is, but hopefully it drops below the 70 milligrams. Drip Drop is one of my favorites because I love it. It was basically when I run in the heat. I'm here in Texas. I would lose a lot of water, and basically it's the only thing that kept the headaches away. I'd get really bad headaches, and so Drip Drop was the best one for that, I found personally. So I usually dilute twice as much, but I like it a lot because it basically has a little bit of glucose in it, the sugar. So 7 grams or less. So it's below my 12. There's no coloring in here at all. The only questionable ingredient is fructose, but it's so low that it's not a consideration because it's pretty minimal. But that takes me to my final favorite choice, which is Drip Drop sugar-free. So if I get a sugar-free option, then I need to stick my glucose somewhere, right? So I usually eat a banana, about an hour before any sort of endurance exercise, half hour before workouts, and I'll usually you take the drip drop either during the workout or after the workout. For the most part, I don't really need a ton of water when I'm working out unless I'm running outside in the heat. And of course, I need to take a water bottle with me. For gym workouts, I don't really need water, but I'll do the drip drop afterwards. I'll dilute it pretty good. And then basically, I will use no more than 2 packets per day. So, unless you're getting advice from a doctor, that's usually a good rule of thumb. So 1 is usually sufficient. 2 is pretty much you're working out like a marathon-ish. So I'll do twice as much. Another thing to remember is keep the water coming, like keep drinking water until you start going to the bathroom more. So like keep drinking water, especially if you've lost a lot after an endurance event. Drink it slowly until you get to the point where you start going pee again, because that's really critical. You don't want to go several hours without going pee, because that means you're pretty dehydrated. So hope you like this. If you have any questions, let me know. And